Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the new character coming in patch 2.0 in Honkai Star Rail, Black Swan. Her kit has been revealed and I'm going to give my opinion on it, take a look at it, and see how good she is. Now before we start, these are considered leaks, so if you're not interested in leaks, then I don't recommend watching this video, but if you don't mind leaks, then I highly recommend taking everything as subject to change because these leaks are very early, and there is a high possibility that Black Swan might receive some changes to her kit. So definitely keep that in mind. Now let's get right into it, starting with her skill set. Black Swan is a win 5-star Nihility character. Her basic attack Percipient Silent Dawn deals wind damage equal to 60% of Black Swan's attack and has a 65% base chance to inflict a stack of sacrament on the target if the target is in wind shear, bleeding, burning, or shocked state. Each debuff has a 65% base chance to inflict an additional stack of sacrament. Okay, so by the sounds of it, this seems like a very cool and interesting mechanic that she has, almost similar to how KAFKA works in a way. But moving on to her skill, Descendants Falls Twilight deals wind damage equal to 90% of Black Swan's attack to a single enemy and any adjacent targets, with a 100% base chance to inflict 1 stack of sacrament to the attacked enemies and a 100% base chance to lower the attacked enemy's defense by 20.8%, lasting for 3 turns. Okay, now her skill seems very good with that defense shred. Apply more sacrament stacks, which we will get into later on. So yeah, it seems that since she is a Nihility character, she is mainly in buffing the DOT damage, like wind shear, bleeding, burning, and shock state, and also giving some debuffs as well. Now moving on to her ultimate, which is an AoE ultimate called Bliss of Otherworld's Embrace. Deals wind damage equal to 120% of Black Swan's attack to all enemies and inflicts Infamy on them for 2 turns. Enemies affected by Infamy takes 25% more damage in their turn, and their sacrament effect is regarded as wind shear, bleed, burn, and shock effects. In addition, when their sacrament effect is triggered at the beginning of the next turn, the sacrament stacks are not reset. The stack reservation effect can be triggered up to 1 time during the Infamy duration, and its charges are replenished when Infamy is applied again. Okay, so not only does she give defense shred from her skill, but also makes the enemies take 25% more damage when your allies deals attacks, making her a very universal unit. It's not that she's the only one mainly doing the damage from her kit, but also allowing your other allies on your team to deal damage as well, which would benefit using other Nihility characters that could benefit in utilizing the debuffs that she applies from her kit. And now moving on to her talent, which goes into the debuff called Sacrament. Every time an enemy target receives DOT at the start of each turn, there is a 65% base chance for it to be inflicted with Sacrament. While afflicted with Sacrament, enemy targets receive when DOT equal to 240% of Black Swan's attack. Each stack of Sacrament increases the damage multiplier by 12%. Then Sacrament resets to 1 stack. Sacrament can stack up to 99 times, which is a lot. Only when Sacrament deals damage at the start of an enemy's target's turn, Black Swan triggers additional effects based on the number of Sacrament stacks inflicted on the target. When having 3 or more Sacrament stacks, deals wind DOT equal to 180% of Black Swan's attack to adjacent targets, with a 65% base chance of inflicting 1 stack of Sacrament on the adjacent targets. When having 7 or more Sacrament stacks, enables the current DOT dealt this time to ignore 20% of the target's defense and adjacent target's defense. Okay, so there is a lot to unpack there. So basically what Sacrament does is allows her to deal damage from the wind DOT that she applies, and the more stacks you have, the more damage that it deals. So that's how it basically works. Now the multipliers are actually very good, with the base multiplier being at 240%, with it being able to increase by an additional 12% for each stack of Sacrament that you have, which makes it very good in terms of her personal damage. And now moving on to her technique, from Facade to Verte. After using the technique at the beginning of the next battle, there is a 150% base chance to inflict a stack of Sacrament on each enemy. If Sacrament is successfully inflicted on any enemy, this effect will be repeated on the affected enemies until it fails to inflict Sacrament on any of them. The re-trigger rate for Sacrament is equal to 50% of the previous trigger rate. Alright, so far for her base kit, I think it's actually pretty good. She gives defense defense shred from her skill, she allows enemies to take more damage from her ultimate, and from all of her attacks she gains stacks for her talent, which will increase the damage that she deals from her DOT, which is Wind Shear. So far I think she is going to be a very good character, and I am very impressed with her kit. Moving on to her trace abilities. Her first one, Candle Flames per Tint, increases damage dealt by this unit by an amount equal to 60% of their effect hit rate, up to a maximum damage increase of 72%, which is actually a pretty good trace ability if you ask me. Her second one, Goblet's Dredges. Every time an enemy target receives DOT during the single attack of allies, there is a 65% base chance for it to be inflicted with one stack of Sacrament, stacking up to 3 times during one single attack. Okay, so a more easier way to gain stacks when your allies deals attacks. Her third one, Forceros de Quet. After using the skill to hit a single target enemy that has Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, or Shock, there is a 65% base chance of additionally inflicting one stack of Sacrament for each of the above debuffs on the enemy. Okay, so another way to gain more stacks overall. The stat bonuses that you get from her traces is attack, wind damage boost, and effect hit rate, all which are really good stats in terms of her personal damage, which will allow her to deal really good wind shear damage. And now moving on to Eidolons, in case you are interested in pulling multiple copies of her. Her E1 7 Pillars of Wisdom. While Black Swan is active in battle, enemies in the wind shear, bleeding, burning, and shock states respectively have to win physical, fire, and lightning resistance reduced by 25%, which is a pretty good Eidolon. It allows not only her but your allies to deal more damage of their type. It only sucks that it's only limited to these types of element damage, but nonetheless it's a very good Eidolon in terms of DOT. Her second one, Weep Not For Me, My Lamb. When an enemy under the Sacrament effect is down, there's a 100% base chance of inflicting 5 stacks of Sacrament on adjacent targets, which is a pretty nice Eidolon, but not really a massive one if you ask me. Her fourth one, In Tears We Gift. While in the Infinity state, enemy targets effect resistance reduces by 10%, and Black Swan regenerates 8 energy at the start of the target's turn, or when the afflicted enemy is defeated. The energy regeneration effect can only trigger up to 1 time while Infinity lasts. The trigger count will refresh after the enemy is inflicted with Infinity again. A nice Eidolon again, but I wouldn't really think it's good. And finally, her E6. When Black Swan's teammates attack enemy targets, Black Swan has a 65% base chance of inflicting Sacrament on every enemy target hit. Each time Black Swan inflicts Sacrament on an enemy target, there is a 50% fixed chance to additionally increase the Sacrament stack afflicted this time by 1, which is a very nice E6, which basically allows Black Swan to gain a lot of stacks very quickly. Again, I don't really think it's that good unless it does something different, but nonetheless it would definitely allow you to hit up to 99 stacks very fast, which would just increase her damage very high. So overall, her Eidolons are pretty whatever, I would say. Her first one I think is like the only good one I will go for. And now quickly moving on to the relics that you would like to farm for her if you like to start pre-farming for her this early on. For 4-piece set, I would definitely look into farming the Prisoner in Deep Confinement set. It gives her attack, which she does scale off of, and the 4-piece is very good in terms of defense shred. And for the 2-piece, there are 3 good options that you can consider. For effect hit rate, you can go for Pan Cosmic. For overall attack, you can go for Space Sailing Station. And for more increased damage from all of her attacks, you can look into the Permanent Frontline Glamour set. The kind of stats you would like to go for her is definitely effect hit rate from your chest piece, speed on your boots, wind damage boost from your sphere, and energy or attack percent on your link rope. And for substats, definitely effect hit rate, attack percent, and speed. Next, let's look at her 5-star signature Light Cone. It increases wearer's effect hit rate by 40% when the wearer deals damage to an enemy inflicted with wind shear, burn, shock, or bleed. They will additionally gain 1 stack of Prophecy. This effect can stack up to 4 times in a single battle. Each stack of Prophecy increases wearer's attack by 5% and the DOT dealt will ignore 7.2% of the target's defense. Okay, so basically the total amount of attack that you can gain from this is 20% and the total amount of defense that she will ignore is 28.8, which is a very nice light cone because not only does it give effect hit rate, attack percent, and also even more defense shred. So that is her entire kit reveal, and overall I am actually pretty impressed. I think she is a more universal KAFKA in a way, where she basically not only allows herself to deal more damage from other characters, other DLTs, but also allows her other characters to deal more damage as well. But we will have to wait and see if she receives any major changes in the future regarding her kit. And that's gonna be it for my kit review of Black Swan. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, like my next kit review on Sparkle, then definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video to support it. Check out my Twitch if you want to check out my live streams. The link will be in the description below. That's it for today, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.